tonight we are playing Quoridor, which is a wooden abstract game for 2 to 4 players, where the idea is to sort of launch your pawn to the other side of the board while putting down these little wooden fences to block in your opponents, hoping they don't do the same to you. Joining me tonight is Aarti. Aarti, thank you very much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Now, as we start off, and you can kick us off, we met years and years ago volunteering for sort of a local council in their music service.
Mm-hmm.
They ran all age and underage events.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago, but your sort of career path has sort of led you back towards that sort of events and that sort of area.
Yes, yeah, it has. So I always knew I loved music and events ever since I was very small. So we joined, the Freezer program is what it was called. So the Freezer group at Stonington. And for me, that was just an excuse to dabble in that world when I was younger. And I didn't always feel like that was an option for me. I always felt like I had to have a more secure career path as a young person. So it was a way to volunteer and feel safe. And is it my go? I've
Yes,
forgotten
it is,
now. Great. To have kind of a safe experience that was not no pressure, just helping out and seeing what it was like as a young person. So yeah.
I'm going to move forward.
Cool.
Move diagonally, or you can then place the fence, and you can't completely hem someone in.
No.
So you're up.
All right.
So now you're working with the Push.
Yes, I am now working with the Push. So we're a youth music organisation based in Melbourne, but operating operating across the nation. I'm really bad at this multitasking thing. This is very distracting,
Okay, that's right.
which is the point of the thing. So, operating across the nation. I started there about 3 years ago, and still there, loving it. It's great.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Great. Yeah.
So that running music events for all age and underage.
Yes.
So what sort of events are we talking?
So in the recent past, the Push has run a couple cool things. We've done Live at the Bowl at Sydney Maya Music Bowl a couple times. We've also going to be participating in Vivid, so we're putting on a show in partnership with Triple J Unearthed for Vivid Sydney, as part of Vivid Sydney. So that's cool. We're very excited about that. And we also help support the Freezer program now. So yeah, going from Freezer to the Push has been a bit of a full circle moment in lots of ways, because I started at the Freezer program, but I also did a program that the Push ran when I was younger. And my first project coming into the Push was delivering that program that I was a part of as a young person. So yeah, it's been a full circle moment.
So do you think having those experiences when you were younger and those opportunities when you were younger has made you sort of more passionate now that you're in this role with the Push?
Yeah, I think when I was a young person, I just thought the Push was the coolest thing in the whole world. And I remember everyone who works there or who worked there and still works there is so nice and so passionate about supporting young people to have a good experience in the industry, but also making sure that all sorts of young people are having the opportunity to come into the industry. It's not, it's not just the same kinds of people coming into the scene, I suppose. So it's a really cool place to work. It's a really nice place to work, and it's got really good values that I care about. So yeah, it's cool.
So obviously you've been involved in a lot of events, both originally being sort of a volunteer and representative to now organising them. Can you tell us about some of the cool things that you've been able to implement or hoping to implement?
Before coming into the Push, I also worked and volunteered at lots of festivals as well. So it's been really awesome having those experiences. And then coming into the Push as well, it's been really great being able to be part of some of the events that we've run. my role isn't as much about the events, but I did get to work on the All Ages tour last year. So that was pretty huge. It was a weird time to do it because it was COVID, but it was sorry, but that was really exciting. Some of the cool things that I've got to implement. I think just like running the All Ages tour last year was really exciting because we got to take lots of sort of fairly well-known Australian artists out to regional places through Victoria. And there were a couple of bands that played, or there was one band in particular that played in a regional area, and there were some young people that we had so at the shows we had a stall where we were selling merch and kind of supporting the local teams to put on the event, one of the a small group of the young people who had come to the show came up to us. And they were like, oh, this band has saved my life. Like, there have been a number of times where I felt so sad and I just would go up to the top of a hill and blast their music and cry and feel seen. And so,
not to make light of what you're saying, which is a very powerful moment, but now I kind of want to go up to the top of the hill and cry, as I have to make my way all the way back through.
Yeah, you sure do.
So I guess that you're being able to provide service and opportunity to people who might not have I guess if you're living in Melbourne, which has quite a good music scene.
Yeah.
I remember when I was underage, I was seeing a lot of gigs, but there was a lot of times where you'd be like, damn, wish I could see that band, but they're playing at the Hi-Fi Bar and it's not an all-age gig. It's not, and you don't have that opportunity. I imagine regionally there's so few opportunities to see bands.
Yeah, there's even fewer opportunities. And, I think it's a tricky one because there's a part of me that's like, I would love for every regional town to have a really strong music scene, and that's the dream. But I think a lot of young people leave regional areas because they're like, well, there's just not enough of an audience, or I can't actually make a living doing this here, and so I need to go somewhere where there's a bigger population. And so they'll move to Melbourne or Sydney or a major city near where they are. And so that's just kind of how it goes. But yeah, I guess we are lucky that we get some funding or we have been receiving some funding to do all ages shows, because I guess one of the key things is we want them to be accessible to young people. So most young people don't have $80 to shell out to see an artist. So we receive funding which helps us subsidise those events, which is great. So yeah.
I guess it also means it's still viable for the artist and also for the venue.
Yeah. Everyone still gets paid what they expect to be paid and what they should be paid, but young people can come with a $20 or $30 ticket, and that's pretty reasonable. So yeah. That kind of is what makes it viable for us to go out and do those all ages shows, is having the support to do it.
I think I'm in trouble.
My turn?
Yeah, it is. It is. I think at this stage you have outplayed me with your fences. There's no way. Well, I don't have any fences left.
No.
So you are definitely going to make your way here.
Yeah.
And win the Quoridor challenge.
Yes.
Aarti, thank you very much for coming down and having a chat about the push and your sort of involvement in this great sort of music events and also just outreach programs. Very exciting to hear about it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.